Virginia Commonwealth University, a busy campus located in the heart of a bustling state capital. As with any college in a big city, incoming students are warned to always be aware of their surroundings and the people they encounter. It's a lesson this school learned 20 years ago after one freshman vanished without a trace.
Scary, it's a shock. Everybody's heard about it, all my friends, everybody like, oh my God, be careful.
Right now, we don't know what or if a crime has occurred.
In September of 2005, the disappearance of Taylor Behl captivated the country.
WTVR's Lee Mahaffey is in Richmond with the latest. Lee?
Well, hi, Brett. There's been plenty of twists and turns in this case, as you know, and we've all been following it very closely here in Richmond.
The mystery began on Labor Day. The 17-year-old had spent the weekend at her mother's house in Northern Virginia. She drove back to Richmond on Monday the 5th, ate dinner with a friend at the Village Cafe on Gray Street, and talked about wanting to go skateboarding later that night. Taylor then returned to her dorm across from Monroe Park. Her roommate said she left about 10:20 p.m. She never came back. 48 hours later, Taylor was reported missing. At first, the investigation was handled by VCU police.
She didn't drink, she didn't do drugs. She was basically just a good kid.
Alerts were posted on the school's website, and flyers with her picture and a description of her car started to circulate in and around campus.
People just don't disappear every day, especially a 17-year-old, and we're very, very concerned for this student.
On September 11th, the CBS 6 crew working a story about Taylor's disappearance encountered a man handing out those flyers outside the Village Cafe.
I can't believe she's gone. I'm used to seeing her online. I chat with her online more than anything.
He told us he was a friend of Taylor's and agreed to do an interview if we did not show his face.
What's going through your mind now?
Well, like everybody, we're trying to figure out where she is and who she was with.
For more than a week, investigators maintained they did not suspect foul play because there were no signs of it.
But what's baffling police is the lack of evidence pointing to a possible abduction or runaway.
On September 15th, Richmond police took the case over. A task force was formed with state police and the FBI, and an Amber Alert was issued.
Have a 17-year-old, most of us wouldn't think that a 17-year-old would have the whereabouts to just fall completely off the face of the earth. So with that thought in mind alone, it causes us great concern.
2 days later, Taylor's car was found parked on Mulberry Street in the city's historic fan district.
Off-duty Richmond police officer, while out walking his dog, spotted a white Ford Escort.
But the license plates had been replaced with Ohio tags from a stolen car.
At that time, we immediately set up surveillance on the vehicle.
The discovery of the vehicle would lead to an intensified search and canvass of the fan and nearby museum district with a team of 20 detectives looking for clues.
Information they hope will lead them towards an answer to the million-dollar question: where's Taylor Behl?
What they would soon learn was that Taylor was far, far away from here.
Can't imagine what her family's going through.
Grab a candle, the sound of unity.
While the public kept vigil.
She is so bright, wonderful and kind. She can talk to anyone about anything.
Police began to concentrate on a person of interest, 38-year-old Ben Foley, the same man we had spoken with outside the Village Cafe. On his website, the amateur photographer had posted several pictures he had taken of Taylor and had also written about their relationship in an online journal.
Everything that's coming out is just absolutely creepy.
The day before Taylor's car was found, officers had searched Foley's Hancock Street apartment near VCU, removing 6 computers. On September 23rd, they returned.
Came in full force, gave him the search warrant, and escorted him away.
Arresting and charging him with possession of child pornography.
This guy is a bit quirky, as I'm sure everybody knows from now, but he is not a child pornographer. I'll promise you that.
But those charges would soon be the least of Foley's concerns. On October 5th, a tip from one of his ex-girlfriends motivated 2 VCU detectives to travel to a farm in rural Matthews County, about 75 miles east of Richmond. Not far from the same shack seen in a photograph on Foley's website, they found the remains of Taylor's body.
Today is Miss Palicero's birthday. Not a very welcoming birthday present for her. But on the other hand, I'm happy that we've been able to progress rapidly in this case.
With the hopes of bringing Taylor home alive dashed,
it's your worst nightmare come true.
Attention would turn towards the hunt for justice.
It is apparent that my daughter died a violent and unspeakable death.
Exactly 1 week after the body was found, Foley confessed, but not completely. He told a detective that Taylor died while the two were having rough sex in her car, but claimed it was consensual and accidental. But police didn't buy the story, and neither did a grand jury. In January, Foley was indicted for first-degree murder, but that would later be reduced to second degree, in part because of the lack of evidence. A trial was scheduled for May, then postponed until late summer. In August, the autopsy report was finally ready. The official cause of death, homicidal violence, type undetermined.
The long and short of it is that as far as science is concerned, it doesn't look like the autopsy report is going to help the prosecution at all.
How that would have impacted the trial, we'll never know, because days later, a plea deal was reached.
Are you pleading guilty of your own free will? Yes.
With Ben Foley being sentenced to 30 years behind bars.
No mother should have to wonder how much of their child they are burying, and no mother should ever have to hear that all that was left of their child was bones.
We go forward serving the life sentence that was cruelly imposed upon all of us last fall. A life without a daughter, a granddaughter, a niece, and a friend.
Bringing some form of closure to a true crime recalled today as a cautionary tale that still haunts this campus. Down in the CBS 6 archives, there are thousands of old videos collecting dust. The tapes inside this particular box haven't seen the light of day in decades. Though this is where you'll find an interview that was once at the center of one of Richmond's most mysterious murder cases.
People just don't disappear every day, especially a 17-year-old.
Everybody's heard about it, all my friends.
We have detectives that have been dispatched to other cities.
20 years ago this month, the disappearance of Taylor Behl was making headlines across the Commonwealth.
Whoever has her, just let her walk away. Just let her go.
And the country.
Did she have to go to the car to meet up with them?
The 17-year-old VCU freshman went missing on Labor Day 2005.
She's gone. A bunch of people saw her last. Her car is gone. I don't know if she drove off or if something horrible did happen, God willing it didn't.
If anyone has information in this case, they're asked to contact the VCU Police Department immediately.
That next Sunday, September 11th, was the first time CBS 6 assigned a reporter to the story. Tracy Sears began her shift that afternoon by interviewing VCU's police chief. At that time, foul play was not considered a factor.
From all of her friends that we've talked to and her roommate, no evidence of any conflicts with anyone or anybody who indicated that, or she had indicated she was afraid of anyone or any indication that she might be taken by anyone.
Tracy then went less than a block down the street to the Village Cafe, a restaurant where Taylor had dined just hours before she vanished.
She said she was going skateboarding with some guys. She didn't tell me who.
That's where she met a man passing out flyers with Taylor's picture on them.
After she borrowed my skateboard, she said she wanted to drop her purse off, so I walked her back to the dorms. And after that, I kind of lose track of time.
His name was Ben Foley, and at first, he did not want to do an interview.
So I chatted with him off camera for about 20-25 minutes and somehow convinced him to do an interview with us where we just would not show his face, but his hands.
But the longer Foley talked, the more he contradicted himself.
So she came here to eat, then she went to your place.
I guess she came here to eat. That's the thing that...
I don't think it necessarily dawned on me that he would be a suspect, but I do know that his story did not make a whole lot of sense. I think the biggest red flag during that interview was he looked at me and he said, "I'm worried for Taylor. She told me she wants to do something illegal, something outrageous, and I warned her against it."
Later that night, Tracy sat down with Taylor's mother, Janet Pelissara.
I remember being torn as a reporter because we're supposed to be objective. We're supposed to stand back, just gather the facts. But I do remember a part of me looking at a young mother sitting across from me and just the fear in her eyes and thinking, I have to say something to her. I have to let her know that this might be someone worth talking to or looking into.
Pelissaro said she did not know Foley, but that police were aware of him. Nobody realized it at the time, but Foley had been on the news before.
It doesn't bite.
CBS 6 had actually done a story about his quirky sticker-covered van a couple of years prior. In addition to being an artist, Foley was an amateur photographer who had an obsession with skulls. Just a few days after our interview, police would name Foley as a person of interest in Taylor's disappearance. He would soon be arrested and charged with possession of child pornography after police seized computers from his apartment near campus. In early October, Taylor's remains were found in a remote part of Matthews County. Foley would later admit to police that he was with her at the time of her death, claiming that he accidentally choked the teen to death during rough but consensual sex. Prosecutors, however, believed it was murder, but would need to prove that to a jury. The autopsy report likely would not have helped much, due to the condition of Taylor's remains by the time her body was found. So Tracy's interview likely would have played a starring role at trial, and she had to prepare to be a primary witness.
And I knew that I would be asked to take the stand in that trial. And I remember being very nervous about potentially having to expose myself in that way.
Are you pleading guilty of your own free will? Yes.
The trial never ended up taking place, as Foley would agree to a plea deal in August of 2006.
No one will really know the motive behind this and the reason a young girl had to lose her life.
And while the killer was sent away 2 decades later, this reporter's memories still linger near.
But I do find myself more, especially as I've gotten older, thinking about these cases and thinking about some of the people I've talked to and some of the heartbreaking parents that I've had to interview. And it just sort of lives there forever. And it's in the back of your mind, but it keeps you up at night. And it's a lot to reflect on.